Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cryptid Creator Corner. I'm Byron O'Neill, your host for our Comics Creator Chat. It's been a minute since I last spoke to this dynamic duo, but it's always a pleasure catching up with them, and they have a new graphic novel dropping with paper cuts in June called Nothing Can Stop the Eight. I love that title. It is my pleasure to introduce Jeannine Acheson and Tom Sniegoski back on the show. I had to look it up. It was early 2022 when you were both last on, and we were talking about Pantha. So
Okay.
time flies.
Wow,
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
that was a while ago.
It was. It seems crazy that it was 4 years, but like I guess we've been doing it that long. So whatever. Well, you guys were at Wicked Con last weekend in Boston. It looks like Craig, the artist on this book, was there as well. So how
Yes.
was it? Was it a good time?
It was fun. It's
Yeah,
always
it's
good.
always a good show.
Yeah, it's always fun to have a little one-day show that's
Yeah,
25 minutes from our houses,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
you don't have to stay, no hotels, no yeah.
It kinda kicks off the season. It's usually no, it's not it's the first, like, comic convention that we do. So,
Right.
Okay.
it's fun. Yeah.
Okay. Do you do like horror conventions as well? You're implying that there are more there.
We've done, like, book conventions. Well, like, book
Okay.
fairs, that kinda thing. Although I forgot
Got
Free
it.
Comic Book Day, which we didn't
Yeah.
do this year.
We didn't do free comic book day this year, no.
That kicks off the season, but
Okay.
Wicked Con's up there too. We had fun.
Nice. And they do that like twice a year, it looks like, because I looked it
Yeah.
up and they're doing it in October as well or something like
They
that?
do it October and May, or April or May. Yeah, and it's free. That's the thing that's the best about it. Like, there's free admission, everybody's welcome, it's packed. So, it's
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
fun.
Very cool. You can actually get kids involved more and,
A lot
when
of
it's
kids.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
A lot of
Very
yeah,
cool.
fam a lot of families and stuff, yeah.
yeah. I love to see that. That's so much fun. It's like kids in costumes is so cool to see because you
Oh,
could tell
nice. Okay. So what
you're
was
not
the best?
totally dragged to there. Parents
What
serve
was
the kids.
what was the best that you saw? Tell me about a costume you saw that was amazing.
Uh, what did we see this year? We saw quite a few Spider-Mans.
Yeah, there was some Spider-Man.
It's so funny. We saw no Marios. Like, every
Really?
year, every convention,
We
there's, like,
usually like Mario nonstop.
tons.
All little kids, Mario.
Yeah,
No Marios.
no, not a one. No kids, no adults. It was very strange.
Yeah.
Very
Huh.
strange. Yeah.
Lot of manga stuff that I don't know the name of that I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I know that. I've seen that before."
And I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, I got a chance to read the advanced copy of Nothing Can Stop the Eight that you sent over. As a big fan of the Hanna Barbera cartoons, they were one of the first that I was exposed to as a kid. That was probably the foundational kind of
Yeah.
cartoon,
Yeah.
segment there for me. And the Gray Pape Show was a favorite, which forever made me a sucker for a gorilla story in comics. So how did you guys kind of conceptualize this? I know the Hanna Barbera stuff was definitely a big component.
That, I think, was the key to it. Tom had been 'Cause Tom's been writing for 40 years or so, and he had always had the title in his head, and he always had the story in his head, but it was much different, it was much darker, and it went through a bunch of iterations with different artists, and I think you even showed me some of the old stuff that you had on your computer that you found.
Yeah, it was like 30 years this thing has been attempting to take form, and every
Wow.
single time I thought that I had it, it just would fall apart. It was just like
Okay.
it just wasn't there was something that was not working.
Yeah.
And it frustrated the hell out of me for I don't know how many years that I had this amazing title, I had this amazing concept, and I just couldn't get it to work no matter what I did with it. And then around the time and this was before I did the Herculoids,
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody was gonna be getting the Herculoids license, and I was bemoaning the fact that I wasn't gonna get a chance to write the Herculoids, and I was like, "Well, wait a minute, the ape concept, what if we put it through the, Hanna-Barbera filter and
Okay.
let's see how that would come out," and that's when Janine got involved with it.
Yep.
And we both started to kinda, like, play around with that idea, and it really started to come together, and then when we asked Craig if he wanted to draw it, and this is before Craig was drawing the Herculoids with me, Greg was like, "I love the Herculoids, and this feels just kind of like it. This is great." And then Craig got involved, and the rest is
Yep.
history. Put
Yep.
put together a really nice proposal.
Yeah. Brought it with us to San Diego, I think,
Yeah,
what, 3 years ago now?
yeah. So it must be 3 years
Yeah.
ago.
And showed it to Mark Irwin at Mad Cave Studios, and he said, "This would be perfect for paper cuts. We're gonna do it." And we just kind of got an acceptance like right on the spot, which Todd said is unheard of, but it's not my experience.
Completely unheard of.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah, that's not standard. That is not standard. So
Yeah.
what was the key? What was the key to unlocking it then? Like Janine, enter you as the
She had
hero
to
in
be
the
there. She
story.
had to be
It
the key.
had to have been me. It had to be. No, I think it was the Hanna Barbera angle. I think
Okay.
that's really what kind of sent us in the right direction, and everything just kind of fit together.
The Hanna-Barbera angle kind of lightened it up. Like,
Okay.
originally, I kept kinda traveling down much darker paths with it. It was still kinda, like, funny and quirky and odd, but there was a more horror angle to it,
Yeah.
and I think when we kinda pull back on that, not that that's not there, it is kinda there still, but it's I think it's handled much more, humorously and maybe even a little lighter.
Yeah.
But that I think was the final key, that it was kinda like, "Oh, wait a minute, let's get away from the
Yeah.
darkness for a minute and, and see if we can get it to work that way," and it was funny how quickly it clicked
Yeah.
once we started
Yeah.
to have that mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. It feels like a love letter sort of to your younger selves in a way,
Yeah,
is what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Up by
definitely,
Barbera too.
it just allowed I think it allowed us to be goofier, playful, and not, beholden to the dark, to the darker stuff that we normally do.
Usually are.
Yeah, because really, almost all the stuff that I do and the stuff we do together has a real kinda edge to it.
Yes.
Sure.
So, it was kinda nice to have something that was a little more fun.
So
We get told to pull it back a little bit here and there
Of
from
course.
our editor, so
No murders, no blood.
yeah.
We handled
not
fine.
yet anyway. I mean, maybe that's a
Yeah.
spoiler, but not yet anyway.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so then Hanna-Barbera, it's clear that, like, both of these mean a lot to you, so what was the best theme song for both of you out of the Hanna-Barbera pantheon?
Oh my god, the Johnny Quest
Johnny Quest.
had the best.
Okay, you
Yeah,
agree.
that's
Alright,
Oh, yeah.
alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that had the
yeah,
best. And, hey, this is funny.
yeah.
When I started to promote the ape a little bit and show around, this, punk band out of upstate New York, called the Antibodies
Antibodies.
poked me and said, "Oh my god, we love the look of this. We'd love to do a theme song." So
What? That's cool.
they actually wrote and recorded a theme song for Nothing Can Stop the Ape. They did an instrumental and they did one with vocals.
Yeah.
So if you want, we'll send it to you. And you
That's awesome.
and you oh,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
It's a
Hot.
great song. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah, I never imagined in a million years that one of my books would have a theme song.
Theme songs are so cool because even when I was reading the Herculoids, when I picked up every issue of it, before I would crack it open, I'd see the cover and I would have the theme song just resonating in my head because they're all so classic. And I was
Mm.
looking through just how many amazing theme songs came out of
That
that and how many of those live rent free in my head, like
Yep.
Scooby Doo or the Jetsons or
Yeah,
something. There's
yeah.
so many.
A lot of the
Uh,
times you hear it in your head and you don't know which one it's connected to. Like, I'll
right.
I'll have one, like, suddenly make its way in, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, is that Space Ghost? Is that which one is that?" So, yeah.
Well, it's easy to see, I guess, the simpatico relationship that you guys have because immediately you both lock onto, oh no, it's Johnny Quest, it's Johnny
Oh,
Quest.
yeah,
So
that has such an amazing theme song. There's
Yeah.
nothing there had been nothing really like it for animated TV shows. So it just really stood out and kinda made you stop and listen and pay attention to that great opening those great opening credits.
yeah. Well, I'm always curious, right? So with writing partners, how, does your relationship has it evolved over time? Are you finding that things have changed that much as it goes on, or
Yeah, she's way more vocal. In the early
I
days
know stuff now.
the first 25 minutes of our professional relationship, she could hold back and kinda like, "All right, you know, you've been doing this a long time, I trust you." And now it's kinda like, I don't she doesn't care that
I like to think that I question because I'm not sure, so I
oh,
do have
you
a lot of questions
oh,
about
you
things
question enough.
sometimes.
You question, alri
Yeah, but I think in a totally respectful way.
oh, it's really respectful.
Yeah.
all right. Before we have any conflict between writing partners, they'd like
Yeah,
to
well,
show
that's
up on my
that's
podcast.
Italy.
It's all conflict.
It's all conflict.
Well, let's get into the central plot line here of Ape. So there's this conflict between two gods that are representing order and chaos, with the this youngster Maxwell Morgan caught in between. Okay,
Mhm.
well, maybe a lot of people are caught in between, but Maxwell is the primary focus here. Hopefully, I'll pronounce these correctly. I'm going to take a stab at it anyway. So we
Okay.
have Thuna and we have Gregenda. Is that
Gar we like the garaganda.
Grr.
We like the vocal growl.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a gorilla is an interesting choice as sort of a chaos god. Like in most mythologies, they represent nature or power, very masculine coded as it is here. And they're a bridge of sorts between humanity and the natural world. So, okay, I'm hearing at least this Herculoids connection, but otherwise, what made you go with the gorilla?
It's always a gorilla.
Like
It's
gorilla.
I am just like a lot of the times monkey fixated. I'll find a way to get a monkey or an ape or something into a story just because it's
Okay.
gonna look cool. It's gonna,
Okay.
so I figured having a chaos god represented by this savage beast would fit perfectly with the savagery and the wildness, and again, it's all visuals. When you're dealing with graphic novels and comics, it's like, what's gonna look cool? What's gonna make somebody go, "Wow, that page is great. Look at that panel, look at that splash page," or whatever. So, gorillas always pay off
So
in that department.
how do you approach that differently then? Because you talked about having to tone it down and how they're always asking you to tone it down, and this is definitely a middle grade thing.
Yep.
So how do you go about approaching that? With because it is it is visuals, but there's
Mhm.
certain things you can't or you shouldn't connect in the same way if you're doing a horror book that's written for a general audience versus
Right.
middle grade. So how do you manage that?
Some of the guidelines that we had gotten from our editor at Paper Cuts there were like 3 pages of guidelines of do's and don'ts. Um,
Okay.
One of them was that people could meet their demise, but they weren't really allowed to see it. We weren't allowed to show it on the page. So there was like no blood. And I think we kind of got around that by I don't think we did kill anybody. And
No, no.
there was one scene where I don't wanna give stuff away, where Grog and, instead of, like, ripping somebody apart, kind of takes apart no, it wasn't him. It was Thuna, I'm thinking of Thuna. Instead of taking people apart, she takes things apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's the one I'm
yeah,
thinking of.
yeah, there was one, and then there was
3
another one
things.
with Garagenda that we had more of like a almost like a homage to the, King Kong, where he's
Yeah, yeah.
fighting bestial thing,
Yeah.
and basically, we lean more into the, like, less physical, more shadowy, amorphous
Yeah.
type thing that could kind of almost, like, dissipate as opposed to being torn limb from limb
Yeah,
with
that's
things
yeah.
spurting, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, there was just we had to kinda rejigger certain thoughts and, the way we perceive something
Okay.
originally versus how to get around
Yeah,
the boundaries set up by the fact that it's all ages and stuff.
yeah.
Well, thank you for that moment, by the way, as, an old school King Kong fan, the
Oh god,
1970s
yeah.
version. That was a clear Skull Island nod,
Oh
so
yeah.
I definitely appreciated that.
Okay, there's
Yeah.
always if there's a big gorilla, there's always gonna be a skull island knot.
Well, you talked about that there, Janine, with Tuna and you're inverting the standard trope here. It's boring if you don't do something.
Yeah.
But when Thuna comes back, she's anything but benevolent. And it's oddly the, gorilla chaos god who ends up coming to the rescue. So gods are almost they're fallible in most mythologies, so we can connect with them, right? But
Mhm.
this feels more like a modern approach to play with the gray area and effectively have them switch roles. So I was curious about why you wanted to do it that way.
I I don't know, I kinda think of Thuna as a woman of a certain age who's kind of just had enough, and she does for everybody, she helps everybody, she makes things good for everybody, and nobody appreciates it, and they don't take care. It's kinda like the mom who, like, does everything for Christmas and nobody notices, and so
Yeah.
she's kinda just had enough, and so that's what, like, flips a switch in her.
Okay.
And she turns the other way. "Well, if you're not gonna appreciate me, then I'm just gonna take it all away." And, like, honestly don't know a mom who hasn't had that thought
Oh yeah.
at one
Yeah.
point or another. So, yeah, I think Thuna is just kind of like the mom in everybody who's taken for granted, and everything she does for everybody just nobody notices and nobody cares, and nobody takes care of what she does for them. So she kinda flips a switch and goes off.
And one of the main things that had survived all the incarnations of the story in my head over 30 years has been the flip. The
Okay.
the bad guy having to do good things in order to achieve his not so great goals. And it was almost like a trick. "Hey, I'm gonna be a superhero, but I'm really working, you know, underneath everything to make you think it's a superhero thing, but I'm gonna get what I want out of, fooling you," basically. So that had been there originally, like, even 30 years ago. So it was nice to carry that through to the current incarnation.
Well, Janine, I can attest that the mama in this household that I live with, that has been my partner for over 2 decades, that is absolutely a sentiment that she would
You'd agree
especially
with?
Yeah,
having
that's
had
fair.
Mother's Day recently and having apparently failed that on my front. Yeah,
Uh-oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you won't do that again.
No, 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 no. We made up for it. I made French toast, so it's all
There
good.
you go.
There you go.
If I make French toast, all is
All
generally
forgiven.
forgiven.
Honestly, that would be all it takes for me to I would love that.
Well, it feels like you might be also sort of channeling a love for DC Comics here as well, because Greg's Level Up has a Gorilla Grodd sort of
Yeah.
coding.
Oh, there's definitely oh, yeah, you think of all the gorilla characters, movies and TV and comics and stuff, sure. Little Monsieur Mala in there for,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. DC seemed to have the better gorilla characters, the better ape characters than Marvel did. Marvel didn't really do much.
No, I can't
Like,
recall much.
I'm trying to think of a gorilla character in Marvel, and I'm getting, like, the Mandrill, which was more of a man than it was, a gorilla or a baboon, I think. You were baboon-esque. Yeah, so DC had the better monkeys, so the monkey ape character.
Oh, for
Detective
sure.
Chimp.
Yeah,
Detective Chimp. We always go back
exactly.
to Detective Chimp.
He's one of my favorites. Absolutely.
I would write a Detective Chimp book in a heartbeat.
Wait, have you pitched? Yeah, I mean, it's next level
It's
time at
it's so
DC.
it's so tough to get past, it's almost like you in comics, if you've been at it a while, you get known for a certain thing and like like we stay in our park and these guys
Uh-huh.
will play in their park. It's very tough. It's very tough to get over the wall, to have somebody take notice of your interest in something.
Well, one of the other characters in this book that I thought resonated and certainly resonated to you, Tom, unless I'm reading this wrong, you have your own version of Bandit from Johnny Quest in the story too, with
Oh,
Harvey,
yeah.
the French bulldog.
Who
And if
who
I'm not mistaken, that's based off of Kirby, your own
oh, that's
puppy. Am
based
I
off of
wrong?
Harvey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have a Harvey, so we didn't even bother trying to change his name or anything. We just said, "We'll just we'll make him Harvey," you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and Craig Russo has met Harvey and stuff, so
Yeah.
he did a good job at, like, portraying him as the jerk that he is.
Yeah, he kind of is a jerk.
He's trouble.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think all French bulldogs have a certain attitude.
Yeah.
That just comes with the breed, the attitude, and, yeah, we thought he'd be perfect to fit in to the story and cause
Yeah.
some
He
issues
did.
in there. Yeah.
Well, you gotta have a good mischief maker. That's just
Yeah,
kind of the thing. In
yeah,
any
yeah.
middle grade. So how do you go about doing that then? So you've got Thuna and Greg, and you have Maxwell
Right.
and the mom, and now the dog.
Yeah.
As kind of everything you're pivoting around that. And they say that 5 is the magic for a group book, with Marvel or something like that. So when you're creating this world, how did you figure all of that kind of melding together? Like those, and then the plot line comes from that.
Well, I think what we did was, like, it was almost like if the wording on this is gonna be a little funky. It's like the
Okay.
real world, which is Max and his family, his mom, his dog, and stuff,
Right.
and then you have the kinda like the supernatural world that they suddenly get thrust into. So, I think the dog was just a natural, especially when paying homage to the Hanna Barbera stuff. You kinda, there was always some kind of, like, little animal sidekick in
Right.
almost all of those cartoons. So, it was very easy to kind of, like, start off there and
Okay.
then kind of apply them to the actual plot line slash supernatural world that we're kinda introducing these characters into. So, if that makes any sense.
No, no. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and you've got to have the Hanna Barbera stuff is all about family core anyway, and that's where you've kind of created the emotional core. I think that's going to connect with a lot of readers in this is asking that question: what will you do to save your family
Right,
when confronted with difficult choices? It feels
right,
a bit Disney, in that regard. A
right.
boy trying to save his mom, and perhaps even a metaphor for parents not always being one thing. The complexity of, because it's very different now. I think about, when I was a kid, my parents were these things, and we put them on pedestals. And I think now more parents are open to, showing fallibility in a way that didn't exist back then. And so I think that it's almost necessary to
Yeah,
connect with a younger reader group that way.
yeah, oh,
Uh,
definitely. Like, if we were writing these characters, say, for, like, the '50s or the '60s, they'd be completely different in terms of
yeah.
how they would be portrayed.
Yeah.
Um, oh, for sure, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, definitely a more modern spin on, like, the family dynamic than more traditional.
So, Janine, when you're coming into this, he's got this idea that he's had for 40
30 years.
years. And I'm feeling this experience as a mom, sort of doing the creep into into the book, maybe a little bit there.
Yeah, I think it did, and it happened early on, and I think this was one of the things that Tom talks about when we talk about our relationship evolving. Um, we were writing a scene with Max and his mother, and Tom had her saying something, and I was like, "I don't think I would say that. I don't think I would put that on my kid. I wouldn't put it like that." And he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter." I'm like, "No, I think it does matter." Like, I don't think that he'd be I don't as a mom, I wouldn't put that kind of guilt on my kid.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh, oh." And I'm like, "If they have a good relationship, then you don't wanna do that to your kids. You don't wanna say something, or when you do say something, you go, 'Oh my god, I didn't mean it like that.'"
Right.
So, we've had this conversation. I don't wanna give away what it is, but, um I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think she should say it like that." He was like, "Okay, fine." So we changed it, and I was happy. I don't know if he was happy, but he wasn't happy.
I'm never happy.
But you're not a mom, so I don't know, and
Well,
maybe
that
fathers would talk differently to their boys. That's possible too, but as a mom, I know I wouldn't have said anything like that to my son. Wasn't anything bad, but
No. I find the things that we argue about when we're scripting are so I'm much more, like, operatic. Everything is big.
20,000 foot level.
Yeah,
yeah,
everything's big in my head in terms of house. So, and
yeah,
she's the more intricate. She's the more minute, like the little pieces that connect stuff like that. I'm too busy with creating a universe, and
yeah,
she's down there planting the grass seed.
yeah.
No,
I think I look at the people a little more finely, a little more critically.
I think that's really important in a writing partnership. I don't know how I'd function. I haven't done it that much. The few instances that I have, like my podcast co-host and I wrote a comic story, and I found myself as that 20,000 foot concept guy, but trying to condense that into a panel by panel, like what are you gonna say? How do they do this? I'm terrible at that.
that's where my experience comes in.
Well, the thing that I really connected with the book, and we're talking about caregivers here, and as somebody who has an environmental science background, who's a self-avowed tree hugger, I'm seeing an environmental message in the book too. You have the four primals, you have fire, rock, air, and water, who are rebelling against a goddess who represents order or natural balance of things. And we're living in a time where Earth is being thrown that balance is being thrown off,
Oh, yeah.
so maybe that's over analysis on my part, but given the middle, grade target, I think it will resonate with younger readers who feel like they're inheriting a planet whose caretakers have abandoned it. So I was just curious if that was something you were actively thinking about with the primals and the series, or
It may not actually be as overt as that, but it's
Yeah,
probably, as I think about it, it's probably there in the background,
yeah,
or was there in the background as we were concocting these, as we were coming out with these characters.
yeah,
Um, the elementals were just really, really fun, and they became more fun. I think originally they were just kind of like henchmen.
Sure.
And I don't even think originally we thought of them even beyond that. I think they became more integral to the plot as
yeah,
we were just kinda, like, talking more and like, plotting things out and stuff like that, and suddenly, like, they kinda took on a life of their own.
yeah, like how
Um,
they interact with Maxwell and his world that they have no idea about. It was I don't know, it was kinda cool to just see them try to fit into the world that we live in when they're from such a different time. That
yeah.
it was fun. It was really fun to get to know them. Like
They were the surprise. I think they were the surprise
Okay.
yeah,
of the book, 'cause I think in my scheme of things, they served a very specific purpose and nothing more. And I think as we wrote it, and as things were falling into place and things were happening, they had a much bigger part than I thought that they were gonna have, or that we thought that they were gonna have.
yeah,
So that was kinda fun.
yeah, they were fun.
Yeah. They became like a bridge to me, and I definitely got some Fifth Element vibes, I guess.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. And they're still around, so if we do a second book, they'll be in there.
Yeah.
Well, good, because I really liked them. Don't take them anywhere. Well, I do have a deep cut question here. Which one of you is the Pam Greer fan? Because the government agent that's helping Maxwell is named Jackie Greer, and Pam Greer played Jackie Brown,
Yeah,
and so the suit looks very
That's him.
similar to.
that's
Okay, okay,
that's
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
okay.
And probably Craig too, because if the suit is familiar, he based it on
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
He knew what I was doing.
he knew. Yeah,
Craig knew what
yeah.
this was all about. So, he was good. He knew.
So you've been working with him on a lot of projects now,
Yeah.
and you're kind of talking about that, where you don't even need the shorthand. It's just like he just has that understanding, and he's a really, I think, perfect fit on this
Oh,
book.
yeah.
It's his
Yeah.
art style is a layup. He's
Yeah.
already nailed it with the Herculoids. So was he just the no brainer to pull in on the
Yeah, he
project,
was one
or?
of those things where we said, who would be probably perfect for this? And we're like, yeah, he'd be great, but we didn't know if he had other stuff that like, and he couldn't fit in a graphic novel on top of the other stuff that he's working on. And he was
Yeah.
like, he was agreed in a heartbeat. He was like, yep,
Yeah.
yeah, this is great. This feels like something that I would really enjoy working on. So, yeah, he was immediate,
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right all the time for a while. It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's such a perfect fit. I think even for this, maybe even more than the Herculoids, and maybe I don't know what the time frame was, and if he was working on both simultaneously or.
he was at a point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I can sort of see how they would have influenced each other and kind of evolving, okay, this has got the Hanna Barbera DNA to it.
yep,
So now that I've got the familiarity with the silhouettes and especially working already with a gorilla,
yeah,
how can I do this in the panels and on the page for maximum sort of impact? And you could see even with the scene, this sort of Skull Island homage, if you will, and I won't give that away,
right.
but you could even see some Mignola in
Oh
there,
yeah,
as
Mm.
it looked like a panel that Mike would draw.
yeah,
So
yeah. He definitely, yeah. His because he was even drawing a big ape in the very first Young Hellboy miniseries we did. We had another big ape character, so yeah. So he was already ready to draw another big ape.
well, given the ending, this certainly feels like you're open to do more. Do you have more planned if the sales merit? Are we gonna do more?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're
yeah.
doing
If they came to us today, we would, like,
Yeah.
get right to work on the next one, yeah, so, yeah,
Yeah.
no problem,
Awesome.
no
Yeah.
question.
That would be so much fun. It would be great.
Well well, let's remind people when it's hitting shelves then again. I think it's June 9th?
They
We
changed
moved
that on us.
back. It's now
Okay.
July 21st, so right before we hit San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah,
it's July 21st. It'll be, like, in stores. And the
Nice.
FOC is a month before June something. So
Okay. Great. Then we'll be able to get it in there. So if you're hearing this now and we're on the early end of release on the episode, make sure to get your pre-orders in because those
yes,
pre-orders matter a lot,
a lot.
especially
yeah.
with graphic novels. So yep. So I'll put a link in the show notes so everybody can buy that from Paper Cuts. And then what else do you guys have cooking? I know, Tommy, you mentioned the new Hellboy series, the Thrilling Sky Adventures.
Yep,
That just dropped.
yep, number
So
1 just came out this past week, so, yeah, that's cool. We've been working on that forever. Um, so that's ready to go, and there's a bunch of stuff yet again. We
you can't talk about.
we've been sworn to secrecy, we can't speak it. Um,
Yeah.
so
But a
what
lot of it is based on Tom's novel with Mike Mignola, Grim Death, and Bill, the Electrocuted Criminal.
Oh, cool.
so
Okay.
there's more we're doing
More
a
of that
yeah,
coming.
Janine and I are writing a new Grim Death novella.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just finished a new Grim Death short story for a collection that's
Yep.
coming out in the not too distant future. But yeah, a lot of Grim Death. That's
Yeah.
all I'll say.
All different mediums.
That's all I'll say. A lot of Grim Death.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put a link in the show notes for anybody who hasn't been listening to the podcast
Oh
because
yeah,
it's fantastic. I mean, the production value is great. It's a
yeah,
lot of fun. I've been really enjoying that one.
yeah.
And it's actually won. I'm gonna toot your horn because I know you won't. He's won like at least 2 awards, and he's can I talk about that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The Tribeca
Yep.
award Tribeca
Film festival.
Oh,
Tribeca
wow.
Festival in New York is featuring his podcast, Bill and the Electrocuted Criminal, Grim Death and Bill the Electrocuted Criminal, at a panel during the festival.
Was
So that's at the beginning of June. So he's
yeah,
racking all kinds of cool stuff for
rec-
that.
yeah, recognized by Tribeca. That was kind of cool.
That's
That
huge.
is awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was complete surprise. I let come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
Well,
wanna
that's very different too, because it's not like a comics award. I mean, you're used to that, that's
Yeah, that's
but
well, and what's wild about it is taking that novel and transforming it into this podcast was such a amazing, like, learning experience, because
Mm,
I'd never done anything like it before, like, that kind of
yeah,
script writing. I've done comic scripts, of course, and I dabbled
sure.
a little bit in TV scripts and stuff like that, but this was, like, intense. This was like I had to learn how to do a kind of writing that was it's all audio. It's all you know what I mean? So, I had to really kinda focus on that kind of sensory type thing when I was writing it. It was a super challenge, but I
yeah,
think it came out great. I think they did a
that
fantastic job
yeah.
bringing it to
So
life.
what was the biggest challenge then? Like, trying to find the intonation? Is that a part of it?
I
Where
think
do
it
you enunciate or
I think it's almost like, how do you make this novel work as something that somebody could see with their eyes closed? You know what I mean? How do you get this story across without a visual, like a comic book page or a super complex description in
right.
a prose novel or something. So it was really, really tough to kind of take this thing that existed in one form already and
Mm.
transform it into something else. So yeah, it was a lot of closing my eyes and saying, what would that feel like? What would that sound like? You
Where
know,
I can see that being a great experience though as a writer.
it was.
It's flexing a different kind of muscle, you know?
Completely, and it was absolutely frustrating and terrifying at the same time and super rewarding. Yeah,
Yeah.
but especially when you started to see the actors and things performing it, it was kinda like, "Oh, crap, that actually does work."
Yeah.
That I wasn't quite sure how that was gonna work and would it work, and it did work.
Mm.
I don't know if that's me or the fact that the people who we had, the production people, were just kind of
They
like,
were very cool.
yeah, they were more on the ball than I thought I was. They would kinda, like, take it and go, "No, alright, we're gonna do it. This is how we're gonna do it." And I'm like, "Oh." So I guess it worked.
So you guys are working on that like a novella form now.
Yeah.
So how's that experience then informing that? Like how does that transpose now into, okay, I've learned these things.
Yeah. I think you find yourself, at least I find myself thinking about if what we're writing now did get turned into an audio drama, what would we have to do? What would we have to do with these particular moments to make that
Gotcha.
to be able to kind of transfer that over,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always been back in my mind because we don't know, if there will be more of the
Yeah.
audio shows. So we don't know. So but that's like reflex. It's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, this particular aspect of this story, how would that translate to that, to a more
Okay.
audio presentation?
I mean, I feel a little bit of trepidation there, but fear not, because you have your stalwart companion, Janine, to help you out and navigate that. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
That's her famous it's fine. It's
It's
fine.
fine. Everything's fine.
I'm running around on fire, and she's like, "It's fine. Just
Yeah.
it'll all work out. It's all fine."
That's because, like, okay, so I had no idea you were thinking that as we were working on this novella. And that's why you've been in the business for so long, is because you're like 5 steps ahead. And I'm thinking, "Oh, we're gonna write the novella. Oh, it's gonna be fun, and I hope we do it justice, and it's gonna be great." And you're already thinking, "What if they turned this one into an audio drama as well?" Like 5 steps ahead.
But that's
That's why you run around like a chicken.
that's why I need that yes, that's why I'm in panic 90% of the time.
It's fine.
But that's modern production on any of this stuff, because ultimately any of the comics publishers are hoping that whatever gets pushed out there gets picked up as an IP to make a movie on it,
Yeah.
Right.
maybe to make a podcast on it now. to throw it up on YouTube as I don't know, an animated
Yeah.
short,
It could be
and so
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, that this stuff has the potential to have so many lives
Yeah.
if the right people get involved and want to take it to those next levels. But yeah, you always have to be thinking about that.
So what was your preparation then for Nothing Can Stop the Ape? Like what are you thinking here? Oh man, like how would was that part of it conceptually,
There's always that like little voice in your head that says, "Oh, what if they made this into a movie? Oh, would it be
or
better?
cartoon?
Would it be a live action? Would it be animated? Would it be, your brain goes all over the place. But then you have to pull it back and say, you got to just make what you have in front of you the best thing possible. Don't go worrying about Hollywood because it'll give you a nervous breakdown if you
Yeah,
include,
that's true.
that they're impossible to deal with. So it's better to focus on the best graphic novel that we could possibly come up with, and that's kinda where the focus had to go.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
stuff is later. The other stuff is gravy if they if anybody showed any interest in doing anything else with it. That's something you worry about then, not you don't focus on that now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you guys nailed it. So I think you did the
Thank
job. The job that you were presented with, you did well.
thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
After 30 years of gestation, it
I know.
finally, this thing comes out.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I imagine at the cons that will be a different kind of relief than maybe some of the other stuff that you've done that you're like, oh, okay, well, this is Vampirella and I know how to do that. And
Yes.
it comes very naturally. So
Yep.
I just imagine a different level of satisfaction. You're
Yeah.
signing a book for a kid,
Yeah.
and be like, oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at the actual thing. Finally, here it is. Yeah,
It's been a long process.
it has. It
Really.
has. Yeah.
Not just the 30 years, like even like the past it's been 3 years, right?
Yeah, this
We
whole book
finished it
took a
about a year
long
ago.
time to all come together. We did our parts, and then Craig was doing his part, and the editorial was doing their part, and the
Yeah.
colorists were doing their part, and they let her,
Yeah.
multiple layers on this thing. It's been a long long process on this.
So Janine, what's that been like working on a graphic novel like that? It's very different than a serial monthly.
Yes. Although our editor at Paper Cuts kind of broke everything down for us. So we took a period of about 10 months and we turned in like a chapter a month.
Okay.
Um, so in that respect, it was very similar to doing like a comic because we'd have like certain chapter, we know how many pages and panels we had to do. But it was interesting because about almost halfway through, a third of the way through, Tom got the Herculoids a gig. And
Okay.
so he was working on that and he was like, "You're gonna have to lay out pages by yourself." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're gonna have to." He's like, "You can do this." I'm like, "Ah." And so I think I ended up doing like a good chunk of it. A good chunk of it I did the layouts by myself. And so the first time we were a few chapters in, I think. And he's like, we talked it over and he's like, all right, this is what I see. What do you see? And so I'd go and I'd work furiously on my layouts and I'd bring them back and we'd go over them and he'd go, okay, well, we need to move this. We need to, fix this. And the first time was kind of a disaster. But as I kept on doing it, like by the end, I was finally like in a place where I could adequately describe, like, what we wanted. And so I think the only thing that I left were, like, the big fight scenes. I still have a little trouble with that. But,
Okay.
like, people talking or them going places or doing things, like, I'm better at it. So
Yeah.
for me, this was, like, a huge step forward because before, all of the other stuff that we had done, for the most part, like, we did together, like, literally together.
Yeah.
Uh, but this was the first time that he kind of pushed me out of the nest and said, "Just go do it. You have to do it because I can't because I have Hercules," and he was working on that. So it was like crunch time. It was like a lot of like furious work on both of our parts. But it was good. It was really good. It was a good experience. It was really good.
Sounds like it. And not quite always. It's fine. It's fine.
No, it wasn't fine for a while, but it got better. It got much better.
She doubts her abilities.
Yeah.
That's the thing that she has to learn to kinda relax a little bit and know that she can pull this stuff off.
I mean,
Way more intense than you are, so don't even.
nothing quite like a trial by fire to make you get good at
Exact
something fast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I think by the end, and I don't know, I might have done 7 or 6 or 7 chapters, like, on my own. I think by the end, it was very few tweaks from him. So that was either that or he just got tired of tweaking.
he ran
No.
out of time.
Yeah, we'll just we'll
Yeah,
go with
sorry,
that.
it's gonna have to go.
We'll
Just
go
send
with
it.
that.
That's funny.
It was good.
All right. Well, as is my custom, I like to end things on a positive note. So we do a shout out now. This would be something that recently inspired you or someone that just did you a solid you'd like to publicly thank. And I'll go first to give you both a minute to think about it. For me, it may sound weird, but I'm shouting out my rheumatologist, Dr. G. Working in the medical profession is a bitch these days. And
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife does. So despite all the people who went into the field to help people, and Dr. G is definitely one of them. He's been this great partner as I continue to recover from this nasty lupus flare. And good doctors just don't get appreciated often enough. So I'm gonna give him a shout out and say thanks. That I can be back doing this thing that I love to do and talking to nice comics creators like you all. So,
Ah,
and I'll also say fuck RFK and these crazy Darwinist
oh, like that.
assholes who
Yeah.
are dismantling the entire medical system, and that's coming as a medically sensitive person.
Yeah,
So,
Right.
that's
but
terrible.
anyway, I
Well,
said I said we'd keep it positive, so I won't get into that. What do you guys got?
Hmm.
I I think I have to go with the obvious one. I have to thank my buddy here, Tom, for,
Okay.
like, 6 years ago coming to talk to my students and then dragging me kicking and screaming into the field of publishing. I I never pictured anything like this happening in my life. I thought I would just teach until I retired and then quietly just went off into the sunset, and I didn't see this, like, 3rd or 4th act of mine happening, and it's because of Tom, so thank you.
aw,
That's so cool.
that is nice. That's really nice. I would say, besides Janine making me kind of rethink a lot of my career in regard to how I did things and why I did things, she was definitely a breath of fresh air on something that became kind of a grind in a positive way. Grind has
Sure.
a negative connotation, but I was just kind of like in a loop.
Yeah, the hustle of
W
comics.
Yeah,
Like,
just
yeah.
doing what I'm doing and not appreciating what I was doing. She allowed me to bring back that appreciation in teaching her. It allowed me to see kinda like all the cool stuff that I've been doing and we've been doing together and stuff like that. But I also wanna thank Tom Gaadt, who's the colorist on Nothing Can Stop the Ape, who was amazing, and Taylor Esposito, who was our letterer, who did fantastic work, and they should definitely be recognized for making the book the cool thing that it is.
Craig.
And Craig Russo. And as much as I don't care for him,
I'll tell him you said that.
oh, he knows. But yeah, all the cool people that helped bring our script to life and
Yeah.
Yeah. I
so
mean, comics is a collaborative process, so
it's
thank
it
you for
it
mentioning them. And,
yeah,
you know,
Sorry.
yeah,
I mean, oftentimes we end up just by default, I think because everybody else maybe is so busy. I think that's a piece of it. And I mean, artists, this whole chatting up their work isn't necessarily their forte. I've worked with artists for 30 years now myself, so having been one myself, but that is not their wheelhouse.
no, not
So,
really.
but yeah, it's always great to give them a shout out. So we always appreciate that. But Tom and Janine, it's always a pleasure getting a chance to catch up with you and hearing about stuff, and the ape is fantastic, and I love
Thank you.
hearing more about your collaborative process. I think this has been a fun episode just to get a little more into that and to how that works,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating because I don't get that opportunity. I'll get a chance to talk to people who are maybe an artist writer, but not too many people who are co-writers. So it's been fun.
Yeah, we have an interesting relationship.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Ever evolving. He's gonna keep throwing you under the bus, I see, because you survived it. That's the problem,
I
right? If you
did.
don't flounder,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and every project's different, so don't get comfortable.
No, I'm never comfortable.
all right. Well, before we get into any
A
more
whole
arguments,
other thing.
Yeah.
all right. This is Byron O'Neill, and on behalf of all of us at Comic Book Yeti, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Peace.